What's going on YouTube? It's your boy W. I'm coming at you with another video, and today we're honestly talking about Doctor Who, because despite the fact that general audiences have come out and said that they want nothing to do with this season of Doctor Who or with New Who in general, Ncuti Gatwa's era in particular, seeing here on Rotten Tomatoes with a 31% average viewer score, people have checked out. When you take a look at the past episodes of Doctor Who, their overnight viewership was low, and the reason for that was it was not impressive. The episodes were dull, they were boring, they were just horrific to watch and degrading to what was Doctor Who. So when you have Boom coming out showing us relatively a 2.04 million viewership overnight, it's not impressive. But what did happen is something that I did call to. And when you come over here to the actual viewership data for this last episode, 73 yards, I am not shocked by what I am seeing here, with an average overnight viewership of 2.62 million. I'm not shocked at all that this had a higher viewership than Boom. We've been seeing a continuous trend downward, but my reasoning for why 73 yards is such a high viewership is because the stands and people that don't honestly know how to use their brain very well decided to come out and say that Boom was the greatest thing ever. Doctor Who is back. People are going to be loving it and watching it again. See, everything's fixed, right? Well, they didn't realize that Boom still was garbage. It was nothing to praise and was still filled with tons of contradictions and things that just didn't make sense. It isn't shocking to see that after the stands praised Boom so widely due to Moffat's writing, that when you come back here to RTD's writing, it's higher. Because when you compare Moffat's style of writing to RTD's style of writing, it's still very clear that Moffat is more skilled than RTD when it comes to writing. That's not very high praise for either one of them right now. They're both very garbage tier writers. But when it comes to RTD, he's like all the way down here, basically in the muck and the mud, and Stephen Moffat is just slightly above him on their skills and abilities. But because you got I'd say, a piece of garbage covered in sprinkles, a lot of people thought, hey, we're going to go back to said garbage, and what we got was garbage topped on more garbage, covered in with this black goo that was probably something that we don't really want to test and ingest in our body. But that's 73 yards. 73 yards was horrific, and because of how bad 73 yards is, I do not see next week's viewership to actually increase. I see it to honestly decrease, but we can also track this right along with the consolidated viewership. I'm willing to bet, because the overnights for 73 yards were so high, more than likely the overnights for Boom were also higher than what we have been seeing. That's where I'm going to place my money on it, just because of the stan outcry and the praise that Boom got. That this all kind of correlates with everything that I've been seeing right now, and kind of what I also justified on a stream that I was on previously when we were all asked, what do we think the overnight viewership would be? I said I did not believe it was going to dip below 2 million just yet. I think it's going to honestly see a boost due to Boom, but I was happy to be wrong nonetheless. But I'm also not shocked that it did see a bump. But again, a lot of stans are going to come out here, try to justify, say that this is amazing, this is great, this is fantastic. I've also seen stans coping with the overnight viewership and the consolidated viewership, saying that they don't matter anymore, whatnot. And it's because of something that was said over here in this particular article from That Park Place. News outlet decries former Doctor Who fans and attempts to gaslight them, saying they are openly misinterpreting viewership data. Now, this is a line of argument I've seen stans use. I've seen a lot of people come out and use and try to justify the lower viewership data. They try to say that the viewership data and the way people watch content now has drastically changed. They're half right. Yes, it has changed. But the things is where they are trying to justify this high viewership is coming from. All I need to go show you is what I ended up highlighting. They're trying to argue that all the views are coming in over at Disney Plus. Now, when it comes to Disney Plus viewership isn't that impressive. Okay, you barely ever get Disney Plus numbers because it's honestly lower than dirt. Disney Plus will not put out these numbers because they don't want to admit that their shows are failing. That's the hard truth of it all. And when it comes to Disney Plus is a dead streaming service. But hey, let's use their line of argument thus far. All I have to do is scroll down here and show you the Nielsen data for the Christmas special that came out. Okay, Nielsen data for Christmas special right here. This is Christmas special. Everybody wanted to say all the views were going to be over on Disney Plus. All the views were always on Disney Plus. That's where all the views constantly were. Christmas special right here. Christmas special had good overnight viewership, but you take a look right here in this screenshot. Doctor Who did not trend over on Disney Plus in the top 20 that particular week on Nielsen's. That's important to take note of. That means that nobody's really watching it over on Disney Plus or engaging with it over on Disney Plus. And my reasoning for that will come around here shortly, but then we can also take a look over at Samba TV data. Now, Samba TV data is a little bit different than Nielsen data, but Samba TV data also does help you see what the top 10 shows that were streamed over the past week. Now, this top 10 honestly covers Boom and what was streamed via Boom that particular week. And when you see top 10 right here, you don't see Disney Plus at all on this particular top 10 list. The reason for that is Disney Plus is a dead streaming service. Everything that they post over there honestly is going to die. The only thing that sees massive viewership week over week over week is Bluey, and that's because parents like to sit their kids in front of Bluey because Bluey's a wholesome family show that is people still engage with and still like. Even people much older than me like to sit down with their kids and actually do find enjoyment watching it with their kids. But I mentioned Bluey, I mentioned dead streaming service. Why is my justification that Disney Plus is a dead streaming service? Well, I come over here to the latest top 10 streaming data. Now, this top 10 streaming data is from April 22nd through the 28th, but the importance to note, through this timeline, we were getting X-Men 97 airing over on Disney Plus. X-Men 97 saw tons of praise. X-Men 97 saw a bunch of people wanting to, singing how great it was, how amazing it was. People were talking about how they were actually sitting down watching it week over week over week and enjoying it. And I've seen arguments say, well, X-Men 97 shouldn't be on this list because it wasn't targeted towards the child audience. But that's a flawed argument because the whole premise would end up being, yes, it was marketed towards the people that actually saw X-Men back, the X-Men animated series back when it first aired, but those people that saw it back when they were kids are now adults with kids, so they should be sitting down with their kids to show them the new era and then reintroduce them into what they once grew up with. So you should have seen X-Men 97 seeing a massive boost and also being on the Nielsen data right here. And when you come over here to the Nielsen data, you're not seeing it. It's just non-existent. Disney Plus shows aren't honestly on these lists hardly ever, except for maybe Percy Jackson for a little while, but that was also just for a little while. You barely ever see Disney Plus shows on here anymore at all. And the reason for that is Disney Plus is a dead streaming service. Disney Plus isn't seeing the numbers that it needs to be seeing. And as we've been even hearing from Bob Iger himself, it hasn't been profitable yet. It's not planning on being profitable, and they needed it to be profitable by the end of this year and the beginning of next year in 2025, and they're not seeing those numbers coming in either. You can't use Disney Plus as your crutch right now because there's no way that your numbers are honestly sitting down on Disney Plus. They don't exist. You're not seeing it. Doctor Who is not thriving on Disney Plus. In fact, it's more than likely dying over on Disney Plus. When it comes to iPlayer data, where a lot of people like to use iPlayer data as an example of the show getting massive viewership, that is also a flawed argument due to the fact that iPlayer data tracks every 2 minutes as a single watch. So in theory, when you use several of the Doctor Who episodes, they range from about 45 to 46 minutes in length. You cut out the intro and outro, about 41 minutes, give or take a minute or two. Then when you sit down and recognize that, that means one individual can roughly account for at least 20 views thus far. All they have to do is basically watch 2 minutes, walk away, come back, watch another 2 minutes, walk away, come back over and over again. You can get roughly 20 views out of one person. That's just rough guesstimate. That's not an accurate guesstimate because you can do all sorts of fudgery over there to justify these higher viewership numbers no matter what. So you can't even use iPlayer data to be trustworthy and truthful with all this data at all either. So when it all boils down to, yes, overnight viewership, it was higher than the beginning episode. It was higher than Space Babies. But that's because of a Moffat bump that I'm going to die on the hill of. And I do not think after watching 73 Yards, we are going to see episode 5 have this massive bump either. And I'm willing to place money that the next 4 episodes, we're going to see a consistent downturn in viewership. Heck, even when it comes to the last 2 episodes, we're gonna get theater numbers as well, because they're showing those in select theaters over in England, and that's also gonna be funny to watch. But I'm gonna leave it there, guys. Let me get your guys' thoughts on all this down in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it up, friends, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video go live, guys, and I'll see you all on the next one. Bye for now.